It's been about 5 years on the books for us, and it's about 5,000 square metres, all 15 screens with beautiful luxury reclining leather chairs and a beautiful bar, and it's just the most amazing oasis in the middle of Coburg.
And can you tell us just a little bit about the circumstance of opening this complex at this particular point in cinema history?
Well, it's a good question. We're opening this cinema just on the cusp of the end of COVID restrictions in Melbourne, and when we planned the event and planned the opening night, we had all of these restrictions, and they all changed on Monday, and 4 days later here we are having a glass of wine on a balcony at the Pentridge Cinema in Coburg. So we had socially distanced seating, and we've had socially distanced foyers, and all kinds of, a COVID-safe plan. But we worked within the rules, and then the rules relaxed and we were able to get more people in, so it was great.
Was it the case that you actually had to open this facility regardless because it's a site that had to start generating revenue? Or could you have waited?
That's kind of right. I mean, this cinema was ready to open pretty much in March, and then it got caught up in a bunch of COVID delays. It was ready to open also in July, but there was just no way to open it in July. Cinemas were open for 6 days straight in Melbourne, and then they closed again. So we're glad we didn't open in July. But yes, the cinemas have been ready for nearly a year. We've just been waiting for the right moment, and we felt like, you know what, Melbourne's open, let's do it. Let's open the cinemas, let's get people back in, and what better way to do it than with an Aussie film and Eric Bana back here at Pentridge.
You are taking a bigger risk than you normally would, though, opening it now.
It is a bigger risk because we don't have full capacity in terms of the rules, but that's okay. We will trade through. We've got a very supportive and understanding landlord and bank, and everybody knows you've just got to bridge it to the other side. 2020 was rough. 2021 is going to be better. You just have to bridge it and make it to 2021, and then everything's going to be okay.
Is it fair to say that you kind of are in a better position than the big chains who really have no option at the moment? They really need to remain closed until they can get lots of people in. You kind of occupy that discrete cinema going market that allows you to still open and be able to operate with a limited number of people in each cinema.
Yeah, that's right. There's one fortunate thing for Palace Cinemas is that we do play a lot of alternate films. We play French, Italian, Spanish, Scandinavian. We play art house films, upmarket films, Australian films, and sometimes, up to 50% of the box office of an Aussie film is taken at Palace Cinemas alone. So people do love that kind of programming at Palace, and that's what's really working at the moment. That's what's available as well. So yeah, we're in a slightly better position than the mainstream cinemas because people love coming to our cinemas to watch this sort of stuff anyway. So we're going to be okay.
Now the market is at the moment contracting. You would know that, I imagine, better than almost anyone else in the country, if not the world. The opening of this cinema complex tonight could be a historic event in that it might be the last such opening that we might see for a very long time. What do you think? Is that a fair projection?
Yeah, I don't think anyone's signing leases right now for brand new cinema complexes. However, this cinema occupies an enormous catchment area that's been calling out for a quality cinema offering. So we're really confident because there's 3 hours free parking, there's great amenity, restaurants, food and drink, 15 really enormous cinemas with great comfort, and this massive catchment area that wants to go to the movies. So yeah, we think it's going to be fine.
In July, there was a brief period when art house cinemas did reopen. Didn't last very long, but during that period, I understand you were playing to virtually sell-out sessions. What did that tell you about the movie-going public that you didn't know already?
Opening in July, we had 6 days, and people came, and they told us they were happy to be there. You can feel the cool air on you in the cinema because the air turns over 6 times every hour. Every 10 minutes you've got a completely fresh set of air in the cinemas. So people felt safe, and they loved the escape. Cinemas and Palace Cinemas are about an indulgence and an escape. And that's what we all need, especially in a time of COVID. You want to escape. You want to escape your four walls. And so, yeah, here we are, escaping to Pentridge, an ex-penal establishment, and it works marvellously. So, yeah, in July, people told us, we want to come to the movies and we feel safe. Palace closed a week before the orders came out. All the other cinemas stayed open. Palace closed because we didn't feel comfortable at that moment with how to keep our people safe. By July, we knew how to do it. We knew what it took to keep everyone safe. And now in November and December, we're absolutely capable of running very safe cinemas.
Are you able to tell me, just in a nutshell, how COVID-19 impacted Palace?
COVID-19 for Palace has been absolutely devastating. It's demolished and destroyed, all plans and all balance sheets and everything about the business is destroyed. But we went into COVID as a sustainable, viable business. We've come out of COVID and we will again be a sustainable, viable and vital business that provides an incredible service for people. There are studies out of Oxford University that talk about the benefits to mental health of going to the cinema and enjoying a communal experience. It's safer than going to the pokies. It's safer than the pub. It's a perfectly healthy experience and it's very valuable for society as well. But it is viable. It is an economically sustainable and healthy business. We just need to bridge that gap between the 2 points. Well, it's culturally important because Australian films like the one we just saw hold a mirror up to ourselves and we see ourselves in this mirror, and sometimes you have to question and reflect on the reflection that you see. But we also get exposed in Australia to French film and Italian film, and you get exposed to Europe, and Europe's so far away. And then you have Indigenous films, and that connects us to the people and the earth of this land as well. So cinema bridges gaps. Cinema brings people together.
Did Palace actually lose anyone in this whole thing? I know that you had to send people home, but have you actually lost people?
So we went into the COVID crisis with 600 people, and we've come out with still close to 600. There's been about 2% that have fallen away, and that's because they've found other jobs and left of their own volition. No one was made redundant at Palace Cinemas.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
That would not have been easy to do.
No, it was hard, but you have to look at your values and you have to look at the long-term horizon. And it's not just about next week or next month, it's about the next 5 years.
And just for the sake of clarity, during the shutdown, you weren't sitting at home with your feet on your coffee table, smoking Cuban cigars, just trying to wait it out. You were busy, weren't you? Can you just fill in that gap? Because let's be fair to you about how hard you worked when there was nothing going on.
Yeah, there was a lot of work to do. I mean, first we had to manage all of our people and give them the certainty that they will have a job to come back to. Then we had to manage all of the administration of JobKeeper and getting income in to support those people. And then it was securing the land, securing the landlords and letting them know that we need your help, Mr. Landlord, to come across and to make it to the other side so that there's a business to produce income for your land. And we just need your understanding that we can't pay rent while the cinemas are closed and we're not even allowed to send anyone there. So, and then there was government relations in terms of asking government for help, which was not very fruitful, and then engaging with media, with public relations, trying to establish, trying to get people to be aware that cinemas were suffering and the workers in cinemas were suffering and needed help and awareness.
What is so special about going to the cinema as opposed to watching stuff at home?
There is something electric about seeing a film in a cinema. It's a little bit like that energy you feel when you visit New York or Naples. There's this electricity that runs as a current through people, and it connects the people in the room, and you feel the emotions more deeply. You laugh more. You feel the depth of emotion more deeply and more profoundly, and you're concentrating, you're involved, you're wrapped up, enveloped and in love with what's happening. And I think that can't be replicated at home because the phone beeps and the microwave beeps and the phone rings and all sorts of distractions happen at home. But in the cinema, you're there, and with the big screen in front of you, you become your hero, or you admire your hero, and you fall in love and your heart breaks, and it's just special in the cinema.
What do you think of the Warner's decision, the day and date release of all major films in 2021. Is it a huge disaster waiting to happen? Is it the stupidest decision you've ever heard of? Or might it reconfigure the business model for major films and studios?
So I think it's really important to look at the long term, and yeah, you know, Warner Brothers is a road hump. You know, it's a bump in the road, but it's not a long-term problem, because Warner Brothers know better than anyone else that the best way to make your film a success and to reach the biggest possible audience, to share that passion and share that filmmaking genius, to share the art of cinema, the best way to do that is first in the cinema, and then you go through the other channels.
Final question. Your father is a legend and responsible for introducing tens of thousands of films to the public, the Australian public, not just Melbourne, over the 50 years I think that he's been doing it. He's a cornerstone of cinematic culture, and he was doing it before you were born. So can you tell me, how do you get into the business? Is it just assumed that you will one day take up the reins of the business that your father started? Were you forced to do it, Ben? Or did you have a choice? Were there other things that you wanted to do? Just tell me a bit about how you, the son, become the CEO of Palace.
Well, you know, cinema is glamorous and attractive, so I was always attracted to it. But I had advisors, you know, saying to me, career advisors, cinema is risky. My mum would say, Ben, cinema is really risky. Get a degree, become a dentist or an orthodontist or a doctor or a lawyer. Be able to do something other than cinema. And I was like, Mum, no, I know what my mission is. Like, I know what I need to do. And I'm in love with the atmosphere of cinema. It's the films, the escapism, it's the actual physical places of cinemas that I love. And I was always determined, and I said, Mum, I'm going to help my dad. I want to help my dad run that business. And, you know, as the years went by, I was able to start helping him more and more. And he would say to me, oh, this is tough, you know, I need help. So I was able to help him. But no, he never forced me into it. He knows how dangerous and risky this business is. And so does my mum, and they suggested that I look at other things. And I said, no way, this is my place.
You had to convince them to be part of the family business.
I had to fight my way in. My first job was in the mailroom. I was pick, pack and shipping videos to Video Easy stores. I was packing up boxes of Van Damme movies, Kickboxer and Rum Bet, and sending them to Video Easy in Noble Park. And you know, that was my entree into the business, and I fought my way through working almost every role in the business to the point where I became the most educated person in the business and the right choice for CEO. You see the pin lights there above the bar? To me, they're the pin lights around the mirror of Marilyn Monroe's makeup room, where, you know, when you see those images, those iconic images of Marilyn Monroe doing her makeup with the pin lights, that's what's represented there on the roof above the bar.
Do you have a favourite film or a couple of favourite films?
Oh, I think Casablanca for me was a major moment of watching movies. A Pure Formality with Gerard Depardieu in 1992, for me, just opened my eyes to French and European cinema. Zentropa, the Scandi guy, Lars von Trier, you know, was eye-opening to me. Okay. And there were some great Spanish films as well with Victoria Abril and George Pergoria. I can't remember the title. It's like Carne Tremula, Trembling Flesh or something.